Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing, testing. Getting my volumes all set up so that I can hear. Okay, it's been a while since I've done a hand cam stream. I had to like relearn everything. But I made it. I'm here. Well, I'm not on screen yet, but give me just a second. Knocking over my cards. I'm not in studio mode on OBS. I've got my standing at my desk. It's not a standing desk, but I can kind of make some adjustments, tilt my monitor, all that. So I'm in standing position. Um, let's move OBS over here, actually, for OBS. Um, boom. That's my background. Magic card. Hello. It is me. I'm not on screen because I'm not using VTube Studio because I'm doing a hand cam stream. So my phone is being used to capture that with Video Ninja. But it is I'm here. I have hands. You'll see them in a second. But first, I was going to pull up some art from the artist of the tarot deck that I have, Stephanie Puiman Law. She's done art for Magic the Gathering cards, which is why I downloaded these real quick. However, they didn't save in very high quality. But she did the art on these cards, which they're older cards, but might be familiar anyway. Um, and then in addition, like this is her normal just like standalone stuff. It's a series called Shadowscapes, and it's what the tarot deck that I'm using is the Shadowscapes tarot. So it uses art from this collection, or I guess I don't know the whole backstory. I don't know if she did art for the tarot cards and then also did like full image, full pictures, or if this is an art collection as is, and then it was taken and used for tarot. It's not clear. Well, it's not clear to me because I didn't do my research. I just like the art, and it really resonated with me. So, a little bit of like metaphysical, spiritual, neo-spiritual stuff, background stuff. Basically, just self-taught. I've always just been interested in spirituality and occult things and metaphysical things. So I've just kind of always self-taught, which I know can be a bit of a red flag. That means that I don't know if I'm very well self-taught. I just read about things that interest me, and I try not to read online. I try to buy books and read from as reputable places as possible. Like always using the references section in books to see who is referencing who most and like what's everybody calling back to, and then I try and read those things. So like as far as like studying Wicca and stuff, Janet and Stuart Farrar, A Witch's Bible. Raven Grimalsi is a little bit more new agey. I mean, he's new agey from like the 80s or 90s, not so much 2020s, but still great. Oberon Zell Ravenheart, Scott Cunningham. Uh, who am I forgetting? There's also a bunch of like one-off books where I don't necessarily remember the authors' names because they don't write a lot of books or aren't cross-referenced a lot. Or it's just like a very minor subsection of like modern occultism. Like best example of that I think is Israel Regardi. Did a lot of books about the Golden Dawn. Chatterbait Sexy Man. Hello, hello. What a hell of a name. I'm surprised Twitch let you get away with that. I'm not on screen right now. I will be. I'm just using a reactive PNG because I have my phone set up for my hand cam stream. Yes, I haven't yet started. I'm just talking about sort of like how I've self-taught, books that I've read and things like that, as far as like spirituality and metaphysical stuff, neo-paganism, all that sort of stuff. Are you interested in occult things as well? Interested in uh, Oh, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. That's definitely that's a follow that I need to brag about for sure. I got Chatterbait Sexy Man to follow me. um What was I saying? Oh, yeah, yeah. Are you into like metaphysical stuff, occult, mystic things? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just talking about. I basically just I'm self-taught, so I basically just read whatever interests me at the time, which can be a bit of a red flag. There are certainly some people who are self-taught who may have been taught from like the wrong sources, or maybe are into it for the wrong reasons, just because they think it's cool. But like I feel like I have a legitimate scholarly interest in these things. Um, and so I try to read from like source material. I go back and I check references and then try and read who the authors that I read, who they read. So I've gone back and read like Janet and Stuart Farrar, A Witch's Bible, Raven Gramadzi, Oberon Zell Ravenheart, um, and just kind of like learn about what I want to learn about. And for a while, it was tarot. I stayed away as far as like divination stuff. I stayed away from tarot specifically for a while because it felt like it was a step deeper than I was at. I didn't feel like I would start ready to learn like the symbolism and the history of the art and all of that. And so for many years, I just kind of like avoided it. I instead like was interested in the Futhark runes and the Celtic Ogham runes and stuff like that. Yeah, you can call me Fox. You can call me Akka or Fox. That's what most people call me, either Akka or Fox. Yep, yep. Um, but when I did finally get into tarot, by that time I had seen a lot of different tarot decks and seen a lot of art, and I knew about like the Rider Waite deck. It's considered the standard, I guess, the OG tarot deck. I thought about getting a Rider Waite deck, but eventually discovered this Shadowscapes tarot and the art, which is what you see on screen. The art is by Stephanie Puiman-Law. That's a sample from the collection, the Shadowscapes collection that she did, and the art just really like resonated with me. I really liked the look. I felt something when looking at these tarot cards that I didn't feel looking at any other. And I've had these tarot cards and used exclusively these tarot cards for 7 years since. So, yeah, yeah. Another fox, Sorrow Fox. Hello, hello. The foxes congregate. I'm gathering up all of the foxes and all of the Akkas as well. There's a surprising number of Akkas out there, particularly VTubers named Akka or some variation. Um, so yeah, that's the art on the cards. And I'll go over to my hand cam. Boom! Hello! It's my reactive PNG. The window for this is never quite sized right. Oh no, it's sized right. Okay. That should be good. Right there. Okay, hello, hello. Who's the dominant fox to defend their territory? Who would be the dominant fox? I mean, we lost, wasn't Nina Kosaka, wasn't she a fox? Didn't she just graduate last night? She might have been one of the alphas for sure. Yeah, my backstory, my tentative backstory, because I'm still just starting this model. Well, this one that's going crazy. This is just a bunch of screenshots of the model. It does move. I just, like I said, my phone is being used for my camera right now. But the model that I'm using right now is just a free Steam Workshop model, but it's very similar to my idea. My idea is that I'm a soot sprite shapeshifter that comes over to this world and would normally like parasite onto a host body, but instead parasited onto a fox mask. And basically, I want to have a form that's just like an approximation of a human, almost like a homunculus. Like, looks kind of like a human, but the head is fox mask shaped, or has like the classical Japanese fox mask like markings on it. Because it's like I don't exactly know what a human is, but I'm like, this is kind of what they look like, right? So I just try my best. But yeah, I want to go with the soot, all black soot, almost. Ideally, I'd want to be like almost falling apart, like there's just soot particles emanating off of me. Yeah, yeah. It's cute. Thank you, thank you. Show hands. Hands for free. So yeah, we'll probably talk more metaphysical stuff as we go. Here's some of the cards. I already pulled out 3 sets of 6. I'm just doing a simple reading. And so before we start, once we have, I want to wait a little while to let people come in if they want to come in. we'll see, which one of these decks and which one of these objects resonate most strongly with you, and you guys will just like pick amongst yourselves which one. And I'm gonna do readings on all three, and then when it's your deck's turn, then that's the one that's supposed to resonate with something in your life. I like dark things. Yeah, nice. I used to be much more Shadow the Hedgehog, um, you know, like Mordor, into dark things like that sense. Now I'm into I like demons, I like dark things, I like malignant spirits, evil spirits, things like that, but from a perspective of a nice guy. So like with my VTubing concept being a soot sprite shapeshifter, if I were a normal soot sprite shapeshifter, I would come over to this world and parasite off of a host body and ultimately kill it and take its place. A shadow person replacing. But I am decided not that I don't want to kill or that I don't want to harm someone, and like I said, have instead latched onto an inanimate object that I can't kill. So it's a weird like still fascinated with dark things, but from a different angle than I used to be. I think that's because I like went through a transformation. That's a bit of a long story, but a period of my life where like actually stopped being a dick. I'm still a little bit of a dick, don't get me wrong. But there was a point where I was like, I'm tired of being an asshole. I mean, it wasn't that easy. It took quite a while. But eventually I was like, damn, man, I am not a nice person. Like, I realized I was not the sort of person my friends probably wanted to have around. Like, they probably just tolerated me. They probably didn't like me. So I made a pretty long effort. It took many years, and I'm still on that journey of trying to be a person that people actually want to have around. Yeah, I'm a nice guy, but attracted to the dark realms and themes. I'm not evil. Yeah, exactly. I found like the coolest thing is when like you're just like a nice guy. Like, okay, I have a friend who's an Anton LaVey Satanist, and he's the nicest dude ever. Like, he's such a good guy, and then he's like full blown, like he's been a Satanist for 20 years, and it's like I learned a lot about Satanism from talking with him, which depending on who you talk to, you mention Satanism, they're like, oh, whoa. But it's like, okay, we're talking Anton LaVey, it's not quite what you'd imagine. And yeah, like I said, the dude was like one of the nicest people that I know. It's good that you're self-aware. Thank you. I try to be. It's a journey. I'm always looking for more inspirations, for more people to say, hey, I want to be like that. I like what they do. I want to do what they do. But yeah, so tarot cards. I'm figuring out my phone's like alignment. It's weird, but yeah, yeah. I'm quite a fan of the art on these, and the symbolism isn't that far different from Rider Waite. Um, just a second. I'm talking so much. I'm thirsty. Let me grab my water. Okay. It was right there. So the symbolism is pretty close to Rider Waite in that you can still get the same meanings out of the cards, even though the pictures may be a little bit different. Like the tower is always going to be the tower, right? Like it's always going to be a tower that's on fire being struck by lightning, no matter what deck you have, or at least it should be. If I see a tarot deck and I flip to the tower card and it's not a tower, I guess it depends, though. I guess it depends. You can illustrate calamity in other ways, I suppose. Ah, virtual cheers. Everybody drink water, or or something a little more alcoholic if that's your flavor of the evening. But also drink water. Helping. Hello. I'm doing. So I was explaining. I'm going to do these three probably to start, depending on how long this takes. Might even do more. I also have my Futhark runes, so we can bust those out and talk metaphysical things. So what we're going to do when we get started is I'm going to hold up each of these objects that are on a deck and talk about what they are, and whichever one like resonates most with you, whichever one of these objects feels like it calls to you or means something to you, then that will be the deck that applies to you. But then I'm reading all of them. So yeah, drinking beer, let's fucking go. Also drink water, man. You don't want to. I mean, you surely know this by now. You don't want to have that hangover. Okay. So first, this nice ball here. This is a rosewood. Oh, what's it? Bowding ball. There's two. The other one's over here, but I don't need both of them. I don't think. It's a rosewood bowding ball. It's not very heavy. It's pretty light, which is unfortunate. When I saw it, when I saw it on Amazon, I thought it was going to be a fair bit heavier than this. It's lighter wood than I was expecting. It feels really like cedar weight, not like oak or anything. It's not very dense, but it's quite nice. I like the color. It's very smooth. So that is the rosewood. I'll put it down here. Rosewood bowding ball. Which, if you don't know about bowding balls, are for, I believe, they're intended to be used for meditation. I use it for like anxiety relief as like a fidget toy. I don't know because I'm not I don't study. Apart from Shinto, I don't really study Eastern religions, and I don't even. I've studied Shinto myths. There's not much, as far as Shinto goes. There's not like you. I don't. In my experience, you can't like book study Shinto because it's a religion that's like practiced more than it's not. It's not like a doctrine. It's not like there's not a Bible of Shinto. There's like the Kojiki, Kojiki, and there's two books that are like sacred texts, but they're not like Bibles. They're not like, they're just like books of myth, basically. Anyway, oh wait, so I'll leave that out. I should turn myself up a bit. Oh my god, I'm always too quiet, and I know this, but like if I turn myself up here, it's like in the red. Excuse me. But okay, thank you though, thank you. I always need to be told. Green, shiny, clear. Yeah, green one. We'll get to the green one. Pretty bauble. I thought the brown one was an avocado seed. This one is a, it's like a worry stone. I'm trying to think if it's soapstone. I can't remember. It's very, very coarse. Has a lot of texture on it. I guess the idea being that it has a lot of feel to it. Unfortunately, it almost, always be in the yellow, occasionally hitting the red in OBS. Okay. See, my brain coming from making music, it's like red bad. Don't touch the red. Like stay out of the red. Because in music, if anything's hitting the red, it's peaky. You need to compress that. You need to flatten that out a little bit. But yeah. So this thing, like I said, I can't think of what it's made out of. It's quite coarse. Yeah, my phone is saying low battery. Just a second. Oh my god. The one problem with my stream time, my phone's always dead after a long day of work, and then I come back and I try to use it to stream, and it's like, bro, you got 15% power, and you're trying to fucking capture, VTube Studio stuff. So yeah, that's that. This one is a Master Emerald, or a Chaos Emerald. Just a glass, like emerald cut. I don't know what the name of this cut is on this, but glass gemstone, green tinted glass. It's very smooth. It's really, really fun to polish. Like just get a microfiber cloth and just polish. Even though it's already clean, you just keep polishing it. I guess the theme here is like anxiety relief. I've got the bowding balls I use for like anxiety relief. I've got a worry stone, and then I've got like an OCD, like polish. But that's what I got. I was gonna get one of my geodes, but all of my geodes are actually in my PC case, which I know sounds crazy. I'll post pictures sometime in case you guys haven't seen. I have the big Lian Li OX11 O11 dynamic, whatever the fuck. It's a big rectangular box thing, so there's lots of floor space for things. But so yeah, those are the three: rosewood, bowding ball, worry stone, chaos emerald. Let's go. I'm gonna move these. I'll leave them up here, maybe down here. I don't know, somewhere where they're still kind of visible, maybe. Maybe still, yeah, I can kind of see it. There, it'll be behind me. This one over here. Well, I guess I'm starting with that one. So, okay. It's my altar cloth. It's made of hemp. There's some burn holes in it from where incense is dropped on it, and this thing smells really good if it burns, but don't burn altar cloths. So here's the first one. I'm just doing a regular well, regular. I'm just doing what I think many people would call standard. I've heard it referred to as a Celtic cross. There'll be a total of 6 cards, 3 across, which represent the past state of the situation, the present state of the situation, and the future state of the situation. Then a card across on the middle, which represents a force that it represents the current problem with the situation. A card below, which is a force that is hindering your cause, and a card above, which is an unknown force that is trying to help you that you may not be aware of. General read for all 3 piles, right? Yep. Just doing general. Hello, Afki. Hello. If you missed the selection, I'm doing 3 tarot reads at least to start. If you want to pick one of the piles, you pick by like these artifacts. So whichever one speaks to you. So this is a rosewood bounding ball. This is a coarse worry stone. I'm not sure what type of stone it is. It's very rough. And then this is a glass, like emerald, like cut emerald. And whichever of those like resonates most with you, that will be your pile for the message that you are meant to receive. We're starting with the rosewood bounding ball. And I've already pulled out the 6 cards on each of these because I didn't want to take a whole lot of time shuffling and everything. Oh my god, I would drink water! So this is past state of the situation, present state of the situation, future state of the situation, or the direction that the situation is headed. This is the current problem that you're facing in this situation. Down here will be a force that is hindering you, or that is negatively affecting the situation, that it's not causing you to progress, or it's preventing you from progressing. And then this will be a force, it's kind of off screen, but I'll pull it down when it's time. Up here will be a force that you're unaware of that would help you progress or help you move forward. So first, the past state. Oh, this is my one card in here that had nudity that I had to stick a thing on. This is the 7 of Pentacles. Pentacles are normally abundance and wealth, and Pentacles is an earth sign. In this particular card, it looks like she's harvesting, or that the crop is preparing to harvest. Yeah, there's a boob out on that. The pentacles on this are represented by fruits, which makes sense. They grow ripe and then harvest and are eaten or consumed. Let's go to I have the actual guide as well. We can get the full breakdown according to the artist, what she meant in the meeting. I'll probably have to use this mostly for some of the major arcana. Where are pentacles? Pentacles, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 of Pentacles challenges you to make a choice, to eat and enjoy the fruit in the basket, or to leave them to flower and ripen, and continue upon the branch. It is about reaping the reward for effort and work. Now is the moment to appreciate. It is a calm moment of consideration of alternatives and different approaches. So that's the past state of the situation. It's this deciding whether to eat the fruit now or to leave it to ripen and move on. Whether to harvest now or to wait and be patient. That is the past state. The present state, so maybe you made a decision on whether to wait or whether to harvest, so to speak. And that led to the present state, which is, I can't see, 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups. The cups on this are fishes, I believe. Or no, they're actually chalices on this, but there's always fishes in the imagery. This one has a nice, 6 of Cups has a nice little, like, almost Alice in Wonderland-esque tea party going on. It looks like everybody's showing up for this tea party. So my interpretation here is like a gathering of something that's about to take place. So the pieces have all come together, and you're in a state preparing to start a thing. Maybe something that you've been planning for a while. Maybe something that's taken a lot of work and consideration. I'd also say it's possible that you're taking all this work in consideration and really just putting on a tea party for stuffed animals, so to speak. It may be a lot of setup, and you may be putting a lot of effort into something that is just a show, which doesn't mean that it's totally inappropriate. It doesn't mean that it's totally worthless, I should say, because it can still be very, very important to you. Maybe it feels small. Maybe it feels like it's your small corner of the world. Um, let's see. Say so version needs to be made. How dare you hide one of the most attractive parts of female? I know. I didn't want to get banned. It was the one. There's a couple other with Booba, but like that one's the most gratuitous. So fish, no like fish. Look at the little bears. Wait, who is this? What do you mean? Who is this? This is the first pile. So this is if the rosewood bounding ball resonated with you. If this felt like the object, maybe I should have explained that better. So we have these three objects, and one of these, hopefully, you'll feel drawn towards. You'll see one of these, and you'll be like, "Ooh, that's me. That represents me." And so we're on the rosewood bounding ball. If this is the object that you most felt like an attraction to, like a pull to, then this is your pile. Oh. If it was the worry stone or the glass emerald, then those will come here in a second. Ooh, I want to bite the rosewood ball. What does that mean? Fucking ad! No! Surely, wait, can I skip? Where's my... Is it too late to skip? I'll wait. I'm gonna wait. To those subbed, I apologize. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for the ad watchers to get back. I don't feel like any of the stones can be my Oshi. Is your Oshi rosewood ball? Or coarse worry stone? Or chaos emerald? Who is your Oshi? Oh my god, I dropped it. Okay, we got 40 seconds left of ad. You think that this would stay in that channel a little bit? Yeah, there we go. Okay, what did I say that this was? The Six of Cups. I'll get the Six of Cups out. While we wait the last 20 seconds. I really do hate ads. I really do hate ads because I'm like, man, it pulls my viewers away, man. I should just turn them off entirely, but I don't know how. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. 3, 2, 1. Okay, ad should be back. Or ad should be over. Back. Good. Sorry about that. So, if you missed it, what I was saying is one of these three objects should feel like the pull towards you. I guess you mentioned wanting to bite the ball. So maybe that means that this is the one for you. Maybe that means that this is your reading. If you feel stronger about that one than these two, then it's definitely this one. Also, I was apologizing profusely for ads. I fucking hate the ads. Six of Cups is a reminder of childhood innocence, good intentions, noble impulses, simple joys, and pleasures. It is not meant to be overly sentimental, but more an urging to remember the open-mindedness of a child's perspective and to push back the narrowness that folds in on you over time with the complexities of life and responsibility. So that's the current state. The current state of the situation is remembering childlike innocence, basically, the simpler things. So we have the past state of the situation is determining whether to harvest now or to let the fruit continue to ripen. And now currently kind of going back to a simpler time of smaller things, of where things don't have to be that deep, you know? That's the state that things are in. The problem with that, the card that is crossing you, the problem, is the Page of Cups. On the Page of Cups, it looks like we have a woman here staring into a cup deep in contemplation, maybe almost like in a trance, completely locked away thinking about something, looking deep into the bowl. I see the vapors coming out around her head as well, which could be a sign of like a headiness, like a lightheadedness, I guess. I also see a lot of nautilus shells with that like golden spiral, both on the ground and the one that she's sitting on. Which makes me think of mathematics or geometry, shapes, things like that. But I want to see what I want to see what this has to say. That's the Page of Cups. So Page of Cups is the problem with the current situation. Page of Cups is sentimental. She is a true romantic at heart, and in a world that is filled with so much noise and bustle, she longs for time and space to simply breathe and to truly take in the pleasures abound. She listens to the still voice from deep inside that speaks with understanding and intuition, and she longs to believe in the impossible. That sounds like it goes hand in hand with this childlike wonder. Kind of being a dreamer, longing for that. So maybe the problem is that things have gotten too deep or too heavy with meaning, and you're in a state where you kind of want it to go back to being simple. You want things in your life to go back to being easy, simple. Maybe with this specific situation, maybe it's a specific situation, if whether it's romance or money or job or whatever, it's gotten too much. It's gotten too complicated. Things have gotten too fast or too blown out of proportion, and you're kind of left sitting there just wishing for things to return to a simpler time. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to be said on that. The future state of the situation, or the direction that the situation is headed, is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups, we have another cup, first of all. So that makes 3 out of 4 cards are cups, which is a lot of emotions. Cups are a water card, the element of water. A lot of emotion and things like that. And we have another person kind of wistfully gazing into the mirror, kind of in a dreamy state, looking at her reflection. Meanwhile, it looks like there's some kind of, what are these? Some kind of sprites or jellyfish or something. Spirits appear with cups, carrying cups aloft, but she's not really looking at them. She's looking down at her reflection, completely ignoring what's going on above her. So I'm interested to see what that means for the situation as it goes. Four of Cups represents self-absorption, introspection, sinking too deeply into one's own concerns and being lost in reverie. Awareness of anything else fades and the world seems gray, but the outside world has much to offer if you tear your gaze away from your own reflection. That feels like the direction that things are going. I don't know about this choice in the beginning, this choice of the past situation, whether to harvest or to let things ripen longer. But whatever decision, it seems like you're on a path to almost like immobility, on a path of just being stuck in thoughts. And if I can be completely honest, this relates really strongly to me right now. I'm going to try to take myself out of it though, but I am reading myself into this pile a lot. Being stuck in a state of just thinking about things and wishing for things. Doesn't make you feel better? Well, we haven't gotten to that part yet. We haven't gotten to that. By the way, where did that card go? Is that under here? Is this still 6? I'm missing one of the cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's right there. Okay. So that's just the direction that things are going on. That doesn't mean tarot doesn't predict the future. Tarot doesn't tell you what is going to happen. Tarot tells you a message that you need to hear. Most divination does. It gives you a message that you need to hear. And so if this feels like you and this feels like the direction that you're headed, then this is certainly something that you need to just kind of open your eyes to and be aware of, that you're headed this way. Of course, it doesn't say that that's bad. It doesn't say this person may be missing the wonders of the world, but it doesn't say that they're sad or depressed or struggling or anything like that. They're just in reverie. They're just in a state of reflection, quite literally, looking into the reflection. Sounds maybe a little depressing, a little bit gray. I guess it did say everything else in the world fades to gray. But, gray isn't necessarily bad. It's just very neutral. And it doesn't mean you can't come out of it. So this is a force that's hindering you in this situation, that's trying to bar your path. This was the actual problem, but this is the force that is causing this state, so to speak. 10 of Swords. Swords are always a fun one to read. 10 of Swords is a lot of binding and restricting and stuff like that. And this person looks almost to be bound by these tendrils coming off of these swallows. A bold red cape. They're almost tied up. If you look at their ankles seem to be tied. It looks like maybe it's just fabric wrapped around, but they're almost like tied up, caught in the branches of the tree. So let's see what what Stephanie Puimun Law has to say about the Ten of Swords. Wait, it's 10, right? Yeah. Ten of Swords represents misfortune, desolation, burden to bear, ruin, the end of delusions. It feels like circumstances have instigated a spiraling and uncontrollable plunge. Like her fall, sometimes circumstances are beyond human control. Sometimes there's nothing to do but write it out and pick up the pieces when things finally come to a halt, and learn from their mishaps. So, that makes sense that this is the force that is preventing the force that is hindering progression, a sort of downward spiral. I think that the state itself, you're kind of stuck in a vortex. It's difficult to get out of, and I know that well. For some people, it's like a state of depression or just lacking inspiration. If this is a financial situation, it could be a situation where not having money begets more not having money, debt begets more debt. In a relationship, it may be that like misunderstandings just lead to more misunderstandings, that arguments and fighting lead to more arguments and fighting. Which just means that the situation's perpetuating itself. Means that there's not really anything outside that's hindering. There's nothing outside that's causing the situation. It's causing itself. The state of the situation is the trump cards in the suits are always interesting. Just have a prominent figure. Wands in this, if I remember correctly, are branches on the tree. Wands are air element. We have some foxes down in the den and a fox by her side listening to her playing music. She very much could be a muse of some kind, or representing a muse, something to inspire you. It could be that there's something out there, maybe some art form. Could be music related, could be any form of art really. That's going to be the inspiration that you need, or the inspiration that will help you break out of the malaise, break out of the grayness. But let's hear what Stephanie writes about this card. Explain yourself, Stephanie. Posture check. I'm standing up. Posture check. My posture's wonderful. Sucking it in, back straight, shoulders back, chin out, butt out. What is it? It's Queen, right? Queen of Wands. She is dedicated, engaging, and attractive. Always cheerful and upbeat. She knows the role of the queen and plays it with perfect calm assurance. She's used to being the center of attention. She exudes confidence and the knowledge that she can handle anything and anyone. It is not arrogance, but simple understanding and truthful assessment of her skills and abilities. It is easy for her charms to be turned to deceit and manipulation. She guards against this temptation. So yeah, it is. I mean, when they're talking about it as a person, which they do with most of the trump cards in the suits, they talk about it as representing an individual. I like to think of it as that it could be an individual. This could be an actual person with a queen-like aura. It also could be anything, any event, or any piece, any object, any piece of art, any. It could be as ridiculous, quote unquote ridiculous. It could be as simple as a video game or as a song. It's just that thing that's just almost awe-inspiring. In that it has this grace and it has this confidence and this beauty, but that could almost be used in a negative sense. This person could certainly use that to manipulate, or this thing could be manipulative, and it could be used in a negative way, but it doesn't have to be. And in this case, it's a force that can help you break out of this gray like spiral that you seem to be stuck in. And again, I want to emphasize that it doesn't mean that the state that you're in is overly negative. Remember, in this one, it's just like wishing to return to that like childlike innocence, to that simpler time. Uh, it's just in the future state where it's kind of they've kind of gotten totally lost in their reflection. But there's nothing wrong with wanting things to be simple again. In fact, maybe they need to return to being simple again. Um, so it doesn't seem like the past decision has necessarily made it. It's not like you can't go back and change the past or anything. Um, but whatever you chose, whether to let the fruit ripen or to harvest now, whichever you chose, has kind of led to this state, this self-perpetuating state of wishful thinking and being lost in daydreams and lost in what ifs. Um, I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to say too much because the point of the cards is not to, like I said, it's not to predict the future. It's not to say what is going to happen. They are to just give you the message. And so that's the message that was in the cards. And I believe that any person who needs to hear that message will hear it and will be able to figure out what it is they need to do. The cards don't need to tell you exactly what to do. I don't need to tell you what to do. Um, you can understand. You just have to hear the message. You just have to hear what's going on with the situation, see it from an outside light, and you'll know what to do. You know, look for that force that can help you. I'm trying to take the sticker off of the booba. Izuki7, hello. Welcome on in. We just finished off our first tarot reading. Which, to sum it up real quick, it was basically that the past state of the situation was a choice to be made, whether to let something ripen, let it sit on the vine and ripen, or whether to harvest now, so to speak, whether to act now or to wait and be patient. And that state kind of led to a situation where the person was stuck in this sort of reverie, this wistful thinking, wishing for a simpler time, wishing for like a return to almost childlike innocence, or where things weren't so complicated and stressful. And yeah, we have two readings left to do. These are for the coarse worry stone here and the glass chaos emerald here. So whichever one of these two items, if you haven't had if the first one, if the rosewood ball wasn't your object, if either of these two resonate more with you, then that would be your corresponding pile. And the next reading that we're going to do is for this one. So for those people who saw this coarse worry stone and felt that thing speaks to me, then this will be your reading. Interesting, but I still doubt there are enough cards with beer for me. I need more drinking on the cards. Somebody say more beer? Chaos! So this is the past state of the situation. This is the present state of the situation. This is what is preventing progress. This is the future state of the situation. This is a force that is hindering your progress, and this is a force that you don't know about that is helping you. So the past state for this card, for Coarse Worry Stone, is 10 of Cups. A lot of cups. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups has two people. The 10s are all fulfillment of a path, so to speak. And Cups are always like emotions and feelings and whatnot. And in this case, it looks like there's some romantic feelings as well. So this is the completion of an emotional cycle, or a period of emotions. This may be related to a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic one, but it certainly could be a romantic one. And this is the past state. So in the past, the past event that led to the current event that you're in, the current thing that you're wondering about. This is that there was a completion, so to speak, of some kind of romantic or friendly, some kind of relationship Maybe you met a new person who became your best friend, or maybe a family member who hasn't been in your life came back into your life, or maybe you met somebody and became romantically involved, or maybe beer. Maybe it's all just beer. I don't know. Let's see. What does Stephanie have to say about the Ten of Cups, though? Ah, page too far. Ten of Cups is the final attainment of serenity and peace. Success and happiness have been granted at last, an all-encompassing emotional contentment, not just physical or material pleasure. Family support and bonds are important to being able to enjoy the blessings of life. So she thinks that it almost extends more to family. I don't think that this is related to incest at all. I think that it could be any sort of relationship involving others, but it's a sort of contentment of that. And that's the past state, which led to this present state, which is Major Arcana 14, Temperance. I always like getting the Major Arcana, of course, the art on them. Very nice, very nice. So, on this one, we have a yin-yang, a fire and water yin and yang, with this, like, angel creature holding onto it. Temperance is balance. And then we have the like plume coming off of it is what appears to be maybe a fire dragon and a water serpent, kind of entangled and coming off almost like smoke. Down here we have a little like dragon statue, or like maybe an offering, like an alms statue of some kind. What is it that she seems to be doing? She's just kind of holding it, like almost in a precious way. She's very Gollum Smeagol, that orb there. There's also the sun rising right behind her, creating a halo. So definitely an angelic figure here, who's very, very much treasuring that balance. Let's see what Stephanie has to say about temperance. You just need to see. You just need to see there the things that you want to see there. Yeah, that's the thing. It's ambiguous messaging that your brain will make sense of. It's the same with horoscopes. So like when you're reading the horoscopes in the newspaper or whatever, if that's your thing, or when you're looking at like horoscope associations, like I'm a Pisces, that means this, and this. They're like vague messages that will make sense to whoever's reading them, because your brain is very good about figuring out how does this message relate to me. It's like your brain will fill in the gaps, which is what can make people who are like charlatans about it shady as hell. They're cashing in on the fact that your brain will make it relate to you. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, like, these cards are just giving you very vague messages, but like you will figure out how it relates to you, and you will get the message that you need to hear, especially if you like believe them. If you just take the message and be like, I need to hear this, regardless of if you believe in metaphysical things and spiritual things and all that. If you just take the message and go like, this is a message that I need to hear, and just accept it, you will get good advice, because it's coming from you. Your brain is putting the advice together. If it's bad advice, well, you have nobody but yourself to blame. You can't blame the cards. The cards are just making vague statements. It's your own brain that's saying, well, this is what it means to me. And if it's bad advice for you, then you have nobody but yourself to blame. And that's always the case. You can never blame fate or anything like that, in my opinion, because nothing's ever completely preordained or preset in motion. Everything can be changed. Everything's always fluid, and we're all a product of our own actions. We're all a consequence of our own actions. There is no like string of fate that's like definitive and like, oh, you have to make all of these actions. Well, it's still you making the actions. Anyway, believe I'm the friend who stands in the creepy forest and goes, hey, come at me, bro. So temperance. Let's hold it up again. I got distracted. I got ranty. Harmony and equilibrium, balancing of oppositions, healing, moderation of extremes, self-restraint, harnessing absolute forces and reining them in to power of unity. By drawing them together to merge in a measured fashion and understanding what one bestows upon the other, a beautiful synthesis can be created. Sometimes all that holds the two apart is a wall of belief. Being flexible and understanding that there is more than one way to perceive the world can go a long way towards breaking down that invisible wall. So maybe you've reconciled something. Maybe maybe the past was the process of like sort of coming to terms with this other individual or other situation. Excuse me, other situation, and maybe it's somebody you used to argue with, and now you can see their side. Maybe there's a compromise that's you've achieved, a compromised state. Maybe it doesn't involve another person, um, but regardless of the situation, you've reached a sort of compromise from where you were. Like you used to be all one way on this subject, or maybe all one way with this person, and now you've reached balance, and it's a really peaceful, really nice place to be. Um, I don't entirely see what the problem is here yet, but that's what this card is for. This card is causing this. This is why you have questions about the situation. This is why you're here wondering about the situation. Things seem good, but there's a reason that you're here seeking answers, and that is, oh, it's the Tower. The Tower is calamity. The Tower, as I was talking about towards the beginning of stream with Chatterbait Sexy Man, the Tower is always calamity. The Tower is always being struck by lightning. It is always catching fire. It is always a disaster. Uh, in this case, I almost wonder if you're just waiting for that. Maybe you've achieved this serenity, this very peaceful place, and maybe you're expecting this to happen. Maybe you fear that this is going to happen. You fear that you're going to lose all that you've gained, perhaps. Um, or maybe it is. Maybe you got all of that and then disaster has struck. Maybe everything was going so well and it did happen. Um, Either way, this disaster, this calamity is why you're here wondering. It's why the cards have a message for you. And Tower is always really clear, but I'll read Stephanie's thing. Catastrophe, sudden change, crisis, releasing all emotion, suffering a blow to the ego, revelation, and seeing through illusions. She says it's a necessary disruption to the status quo. I have heard that. I have heard where it's a needed shakeup, so to speak. Violent and explosive upheaval as the only way to break through the long-established patterns. Fantasies shattered by the harsh and brutal hand of reality, making a clean and utter severing from the past. It is time to re-examine belief structures and opinions. I wonder. So she's saying that this is still a positive thing, that it hurts, but that it's needed to go forward. And I almost wonder if her version of this being necessity, I wonder if this is an illusion. I wonder if this is not a state of where things really need to be. Maybe it is a state of balance and equilibrium, but maybe it's wrong for one reason or another. Maybe it's not clear, and maybe you needed something to just blow up. You need something to go crazy, to shatter this status quo, to shatter this equilibrium, and maybe move on to something greater. We will see. Jesse Lockhart, hello, how are you doing, man? You missed the first tarot reading. This is the second one. The first one was this rosewood bounding ball. If this object speaks to you, then your reading was the first one. The second one is this worry stone. It's very coarse. It's very rough. If this object speaks to you, if you feel drawn to this object, then this is your reading. The third object is this glass emerald. If you feel drawn to this, if this feels like it resonates with you, then your pile will be the third pile. So your reading will be coming up. Chaos! Choose your Oshi now. Are you wooden ball, glass orb, or rock? Which one are you? Actually, now that I think about it, this would make a really good skipping stone, like out on a lake. Yeah. I mean, not just because it's flat, but also like I think coarse stones are better for that because I think they bounce off the water better. Maybe it is smooth. I thought it was counterintuitive. Like you'd expect a smooth stone, but a smooth stone will just slice right under the water. Whereas if it's a little bit coarse, I think that it bounces off. Anyway, it's not important. We're reading. Ad is about to start in 50 seconds. So I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to put this up. Wait, where'd it go? I'm going to drink water. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to run this. I'm going to put this. Okay. Start. Start. Ah. Confirm. Start. What do you mean invalid? Connect. Copy. Paste. Confirm. Start. Okay. I'm doing this while I drink water and get water. So for those who are subbed, enjoy this. You can put just type exclamation mark emote and then an emote, and you become that emote and you get in here. So like exclamation mark emote, pick an emote. Boom. And if you don't do that and just type in chat, it'll give you a random emote, and we fight. And enjoy fighting while I hydrate and stretch and get more water because I'm almost out already. Who gave Jesse a mace? Jesse's got a fucking... Oh, he threw it. Oh my god. Who gave him that mace? What the hell? He got a weapon. Emote swap. How are you still alive, Jesse? You got no... You got a 1 hit point. He's alive on 1 hit point. He put God mode in. What the heck? Let's see, what's my most powerful emote? What's the most powerful emote that I have? Let's send in the Bochi Cody. Get him, Bochi Cody! Jesse got a chicken. Punch, punch, punch. I like this too much. I could do a stream of just this. Kitty. Oh shit, he's coming in with a knife. He's got a knife! Oh my god, he just murdered Jesse. No! I don't think I've been hit yet. Bochi Cody's too strong. Oh, okay. Oh god. Afki's got a bow. How'd you get... Wait, what's the crazy taxi emo? What the fuck? It's so wide. Oh my god, Afki's gonna murder us all with that bow. Oh my god. He's so cracked. He's Legolas. He's cracked with the bow. Oh my god, he's too strong. Oh, everybody's coming in with weapons. We got 2 tables. One of them's got a sword. Oh, he stabbed him. It's absolute chaos. It's a bloodbath out here. Oh my god, Bob Ross has a bow. No, Bob Ross. No, Bob Ross. Don't do it. No. Winner of this. Last person standing right currently is the winner, and then we're coming back. I think it's going to be Bob Ross. Oh, for sure. For sure. It's Afki with the Bob Ross with the bow is the champion. Congratulations, Afki. You don't win anything, but it was an excellent fight. Congrats to everybody who participated. I like that so much. Anyway, Where was I? Okay. So we have this perfect equilibrium. We have a disaster. Stephanie says that this is like a needed shakeup in order for something probably better to come along. We'll see. I've always just interpreted it as just calamity, and it makes sense in this regard, being the problem with the situation, that it be calamity. However, only you, if this is your pile, only you know if some calamity has struck, or if you're worried that calamity will strike. Only you know. But the future state of the situation is the Queen of Cups. Wow, the Queen of Cups. We have two queens now in these readings. The Queen of Cups is walking like blindly. She's walking on faith, and the turtles are kind of just like coming up under her feet to allow her to walk on water. So she's just kind of like almost blissfully moving through life unaware, and you know, the stones, so to speak, the stones are coming up under her feet. You know, everything just naturally falls into place for the Queen of Cups. Whether this is you in the future state or another person in the future state of the situation, that's another thing. This could all be relating to somebody else. If you're here because you're wondering about somebody else, this could relate to them as well, another person in your life. So let's see what Stephanie has to say. She will give the interpretation of the Queen of Cups as an individual. The very being of the Queen of Cups is a creative nexus. She is poetry in motion, imagination incarnate. She can dance upon the ever-shifting, ever-changing seas in unison with the dance of life that engages all of the world and its creatures around her. She heeds her intuitions and follows her heart. She listens to the whispers. She listens to the whispers of the stars, for she knows that they are wiser than any being on this earth. They have witnessed the world from when the seas were young. Guided by instincts, she is attuned to that other world and finds joy in the communion in kindred spirits. This is a straight like Star Weaver, like Dream Walker. This is a very spiritually in touch individual or state of being. Afki was wet, slick, and ready to go. Congrats, Afki. You won 1 cent. Thank you. I can now buy food to survive the next 5 minutes. I don't even know if 1 cent can buy. Like, what can 1 cent actually buy? Like, one U.S. American cent probably can't. I mean, like, a few grains of rice, maybe. But, like, could you find somebody to be bothered to sell you any amount of food for 1 cent? That would be very difficult. Anyway. So that's the future state. So whether that's you personally reaching this or another individual reaching this state of like faith incarnate, of like the world kind of just like bending around you, not because you demand it, but just because you know that it will. You know about the harmony of things. It's interesting. It makes me think that like everything has evolved to a status quo. It reminds me of like the sort of tale of like the person who got everything that they want. Maybe they're a big businessman or something. They make lots of money. They have all the material stuff. And then something comes along and shakes things up, and they either lose all of it or they throw it away, and they sort of develop this other aspect of their personality that's less material and more spiritual, more thought and feeling based. But yeah, just thinking out loud there. A hidden thing that's hindering progress in the situation, a hidden thing that's holding back against this flow towards this state. Eight of Swords forms a cage. Swords, like I said, are always pretty restrictive, pretty binding. Sometimes that means binding of evil, but in this case it usually means that something is keeping you caged. In this case, we see the swan in a cage of thorns and swords, looking hopelessly at the hummingbird that's able to fly free, that's small and able to fly free. And it is not obviously able to get free. Swords are always pretty clear. But I will read Stephanie's interpretation. Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords forms a cage. It is a reminder not to waste energy on the trivial. It is easy to freeze up in a crisis, to feel restricted, confused, powerless, entrapped by circumstances, but there's always a way out of it if you take a moment to breathe and assess. So I imagine that it's related to this crisis, whether real or perceived. It's this crisis it's this event, this shake-up event, this massive shake-up event to the status quo that's like paralyzing. It causes you to freeze with fear, or to maybe physically be restrained. Um, Maybe you just feel like you can't act. You can't make a move. You can't make a change. You can't do it. Whatever the shakeup is, whatever it is that happened in your life or that you fear might happen, it's causing you to be paralyzed. It's a force that's preventing your movement onto this state of like being free, essentially. Party parrot, party parrot, party parrot. I know Tencent can buy a lot of companies with China's backing. What? A penny? Oh, I know Tencent can buy a lot. Okay. A penny can buy you one wish from a well. That's true. That could be priceless. I did not consent to being bound. Well, in this case, Eight of Swords is a prison of the mind. You've bound yourself. You've done it to yourself. Beware of chimkins. We all have a sword. Where do all the chimkins hide their swords, though? Akka doesn't need your consent, just your obedience. No, that's not true. I value consent. Consent is sexy, everybody. Don't listen to him. Consent is sexy. There's nothing. I won't go into details. Consent is sexy. No memes. No memes. It is. What if I pretend to resist? That's the thing. If you consent to pretend to resist, if all parties are consenting to pretending to resisting, that's when you can really start having some fun. Anyway, the hidden force, the force that you're not aware of that is helping you, or that could help you. Ooh, we have another cup. A lot of emotions. King of Cups. King of Cups. He holds a great bounty. He holds a great amount of treasure, but not necessarily material treasure. He holds a great wealth of wisdom and intellect. He has all that he desires, if I'm remembering correctly. He's attained all that he desires. So this is either a person or a state or some sort of effect of abundance and wisdom, and maybe it's somebody who's been there before. If it's an individual, it could be almost like a mentor figure. It could be somebody who has seen and walked the walk. But I want to see what Stephanie has. I like turtles. Cups. Okay. He is wise and understanding. He knows the meaning of patience. He guides the way with a steady calm through the ever-shifting uncertainties of the vast open depths. He is a protector. He cares for and watches over those near to him. He offers compassion and care. His message is to let the currents flow through your veins to cleanse your heart of its burdens. So, like I said, it could be an actual person, an actual mentor type figure or father figure or a role model, something like that. Or it could just be the message itself, the message of go with the flow, which is very, very trite and very cliche. But especially in this situation where everything was good and then there was an upheaval, and what's preventing you from getting to this calmness, to this state where everything comes to you, is a cage of the mind. The best advice is, let it be. Is to go with the flow. Yeah, it seems very clear to me. I know it's always not knowing a situation. It can be really easy to see this picture and be like, oh yeah, just go with the flow. Just let go. Get out of that mind cage. I know it can be more difficult if this is your pile and if you're experiencing a situation, an upheaval like this, because this is an absolute calamity. This is an absolute shit hit the fan. And so I know when you're in it, it can be very hard to see the path forward, when you're in that state. But the best advice, the best message here is to follow the way of the King of Cups and to Let the currents pass through you. Don't fight against them. Let them pass through you and work with them rather than against them. And you will reach that point where you can almost walk on water. Not literally, I don't advise anybody in here to try walking on water. But you'll reach that point where you can almost walk on water because, as with this image, turtles will come up and just float under your feet before you step. Everything will just fall into place when you need it and where you need it. You can. That's true. You can walk on frozen water. Yeah. I can walk on plasma. That's not true. I just lied. That's an outright lie. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Okay, pile number 3, the Chaos Emerald. For those of you who picked the Chaos Emerald, now is your time. I hope you're prepared. We have past state, present state, the conflict or the problem, the future state, the thing that is hindering your progress, and the unknown force that could help you forward. The past state of the situation is, what is that? 7 of Wands? 7 of Wands. Wands have foxes on them, like we saw with the Queen of Wands. In this case, this looks like I'm trying to figure out. This looks like a protector, somebody who's defending the family here from intruders. If it's like an individual, it could be a state of conflict where one's family, and family could mean blood relatives. Family can also mean your friends. It can mean a community that's important to you. Lots of things mean family. Gasm emo. Oh, Gasm emo. Okay. Honey badger or wolverines. Yeah. Some kind of threat. Defending the family, defending defending your people. This was the past situation. So there was a situation where the people, the community, the family, the friends, whatever it may be, was under attack. Whether physically, verbally, if you think to like Twitter, maybe there were some Twitter arguments going on. It can apply to petty shit as well. It could have been petty, it could have been serious, but either way, it was a threat. And whether you or somebody else, there was some defending against the threat going on. And that led to the current state of the situation. What is the current state of the situation? Oh, I forgot to read what Stephanie had to say about this. I want to read what Stephanie had to say. 7 of Wands. Stephanie. 7 of Wands is taking a stand, defending what you believe in. The world is full of strife and stiff competition, and one must have the courage in facing the difficulties that come. Do not buckle under a stiff wind, but sway like the bamboo. Seemingly insurmountable odds can be overcome with faith and courage. So, yeah, specifically, whatever it was that the community or the family was up against seemed insurmountable, and you stood up to it more like bamboo, bending, not breaking. Screw Knuckles. Akko will show the way. Our queen. You know our queen. Is Stephanie our queen? Yes, Stephanie's my queen. Stiff wind. So, the current situation, this is the sun. The sun is the noble force. The noble, I think Stephanie refers to it as an individual. But this is the questing knight, so to speak. Out there seeking. I could have this totally wrong. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm confusing this with the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles has very similar imagery. It is like the questing knight who's seeking a treasure, seeking a relic, seeking a thing. I'm not sure if he's seeking the sun. He doesn't look like he's looking at the sun. He looks like he's riding with the sun. Perhaps the sun goes out and his cause is noble and just. His cause is known to be right. I don't know. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank. Major Arcana are always the toughest for me. It can be a lot easier with minor Arcana. The sun is a mass of incandescent gas. The sun is a laser. Where is the sun? Enlightenment and understanding, glory, achieving prominence, the constant renewal of life, vitality, filled with radiant joy and energy. invigoration, and good health. Being full of assurance and confidence, a clarity of vision and purpose lit by the clear daylight. From the times of ancient civilizations up to the present, the sun has always been a symbol of life and growth. It has been embodied in vibrant gods and goddesses in cultures throughout the ages, young and glorious and brilliant, full of vigor and blazing splendor. The strength and power of the gods pours forth in the nourishing glow of the sun. Why do I see VTubers in all the cards? I had an idea once that it would be really cool to do a tarot deck of VTubers, but my interest in metaphysical like conflicts with my interest in VTubers in that I'm like, could I do a VTuber tarot deck and like not have it feel wrong? So like you can do like a joke deck, sure, joke tarot deck exists all over the place. And so it's like, but could I do like a joke VTuber tarot deck where it's just like, you know, the sun is, well, who would the sun be? Takanashi Kiara. Well, there's actually a Phoenix card, so that should be a stream. We need to brainstorm. Okay, next stream idea, next crazy stream idea. Let me write this down. Where's my notepad? Let me get my notepad. Notepad. Here. Let me get. This is gonna be weird for a second. Where's my notepad of? No, not that one. This in here? No, not there. There we go. Oh no, I'm typing with love. Don't make fun of me. Okay, brainstorm VTuber tarot. That's a stream idea right there. Okay. Okay. So yeah, like Kiara could be the Phoenix, obviously. I'm not sure who the sun would be. Anyway, so past conflict leading to a kind of confidence, self-assuredness, absolutely filled with energy and like whatever conflict coming out of it, probably the better. Well, it seems very much the better, and like filled with confidence and self-assurance. But there's obviously a reason that you're wondering about this situation, right? And this would be the reason that you're wondering about the state of things. The Ten of Pentacles. This is the fulfillment of like the treasure, the wealth, whether it's physical or spiritual or mental wealth. This is the attainment of the goods. This is getting the goods. Numi will always be face down because she's bottom, so I've never had a bottom around when I need one. Tentacles? Is there tentacles on this card? There's like a dragon tree thing. Yeah, she looks like she's gotten, what does she have there? An egg? A dragon ball? She's got a dragon ball or something. So she's gotten a thing. There's also all sorts of pentacles and glory in this. Maybe that's a stained glass window. It's not exactly clear. But 10 is the fulfillment of the path, so to speak. Although there does appear to be like a distant castle on the horizon, so I'm curious about that. But this is the problem. So we have to think of it in terms of a problem. So let's see what Stephanie has to say about the 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles is about enjoying affluence, desiring the permanence that financial security can bring, and being able to appreciate luxury and the good fortune that has befallen you. This is the ultimate in worldly success, the result of long-term efforts finally brought to fruition, and finally being able to settle into a lasting beneficial situation and position. That's a problem? Pile number 3, Chaos Emerald Group. Whoever picked Chaos Emerald, you had a problem in the past. You won. You came to a position of confidence. And now the problem is like, is the problem that you have too much? Is that what this is? I've gotten everything I desire and it's too much. No, perhaps it's that you don't. Perhaps you've reached, you've reached a state of confidence and of warmth and of energy and everything, but you haven't actually gotten what it is that you are looking for. based on the fact that this is a problem. Yes, this does symbolize ultimate fulfillment, but it is a problem. So perhaps the problem is that you're not ultimately fulfilled. This situation has led to some gains, but not in the way that you were looking for them. Maybe you're looking for something else. Maybe you're still seeking this fulfillment. I'm curious about what the future state of the situation is. See if we can shed some more light on this. This is the Knight of Swords. Most of the swords are about containment, but once you get to the suit cards, to the trump cards in the swords, I think they become different. I think that they're warriors then at that point. This person appears to have slain some enemies, or he rides forth with like a force. Maybe a bit intimidating. We have some smaller birds here that almost appear to be intimidated by the force. By the forces here, by the power here. This could be a situation where power, or perhaps quote unquote power, that you wield coming out of this is maybe not what you want, and maybe it's intimidating to others, and maybe it's off-putting, and maybe it's not who you are. Let's see. What is this? The Knight of Pentacles? The Knight is a domineering personality. He rides upon the king of the birds, and together they are like a spear through the heavens. He is a seeker, slicing through the skies with his sword and his wings. The storm gathers in his wake. Born of the turbulence his winged army creates. A storm gathers in his wake. And he is lifted high above it all to pierce through the chaos. The sword is a beacon to his followers. The sword is a beacon to his followers. So whatever situation this is, again, whether it was a physical conflict or an argument or some kind of weird power conflict, whatever conflict this was, you've emerged victorious, but now you leave storms in your wake, perhaps, or well, in the future state of the direction things are going. I mean, it's certainly not bad, but it depends on, like, is that you? Are you that knight riding forth sword high, trampling wildlife underfoot as you charge forward? Sure, you're glorious and you're mighty and you're strong, but you definitely leave destruction in your wake in this like scenario, which isn't bad. That is just some personalities. A little bit. There we go. Yeah, there's nothing innately wrong about that. But based on this being the problem, it feels like maybe that's not what you want. Maybe that's not the state of things that you want to be. Let me look for another interpretation here as well. So the problem is ultimate fulfillment. The problem is stability in finances. I wonder if resolving this situation may have cost you in other ways that now has you lacking, either financially or materialistically or something like that. So, getting here, there is energy, there is power, there is splendor here, but at what cost? What cost could that possibly lead to? And the future situation is not necessarily a bad thing. Swords are complicated to read. The only thing that should be seen as like bad in the scenario is this: what's crossing you, what's making it bad, what's making you wonder. This is just possibly one of the future states. Here's a force that's causing the state to be in question. 8 of Pentacles. Pentacles is wealth. This spider appears to have caught many things, is storing them in a web, or maybe caught up in a web. So perhaps if we go back to the financial interpretation, perhaps you have finances that are caught up somewhere, and you're unable to access them currently, but eventually you'll be able to get them. But the fact that they're caught up now, the fact that you can't access them now, might be causing problems, might be causing the situation. I'm going to see what Stephanie has to say. This is a confusing one. This is certainly chaotic. 8 of Pentacles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 of Pentacles embodies a craftsman, someone possessing great patience and who is attentive to details. It is a call to be absorbed in a project, to seek out knowledge and pursue a higher understanding. But this must be done with practical experience, using one's own hands and body to create. This is often what is required to achieve success, a practical application of intellect and skill to a task to see through to the finish. Interesting. This is a force that's causing the situation. It's like a call to craft, a call to actually do physically, to not just like book learn, but to actually do it with your. I've got to admit, I'm a bit at a loss on this one. If anybody out there picked pile number 3, if anybody out there picked pile number 3, and if this means anything to you, and if you're willing to say how it might relate to your situation, you don't have to go into details. You don't have to say anything if you don't want. But I am curious because I am lost and I don't know. The mind does fill in the gaps. Sounds like me and my job. Good. I'm glad that it makes sense to you because it is not quite making sense to me. I'm doing my best though to just tell you. I'll just continue to tell you what these cards say, and since I'm lost, I'll leave it. I'll leave it to you to figure out. I'm next in line if when my boss leaves. I'm in. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. You're in a good position, but like, Do you know that that's what you want to do? If your boss leaves, do you know that that's the job that you want? Makes me. And again, you don't have to say anything. Don't feel pressured to say anything if you don't want to talk, if it's personal or whatever. But I'm curious if perhaps it's a job that you don't want. Also, there's an ad going on right now. You might not even be able to hear me, Sorrow. Just 20 more seconds. 20 more seconds. We're hanging on. We're hanging on. 15 seconds. Ad break. Ad break. It was either a short one or I didn't notice it for a while. I fill in for him often. I'm not as skilled as he is, so yeah. So that's interesting. So like the thing hindering in this case is literally like needing to do it, needing the experience and needing the physical, the hands-on experience. Maybe you've learned a lot from just watching, but that's like just theoretical experience until you actually start to do it. Interesting. I'm glad that it makes sense to somebody because this is confusing as hell to me. But let's see if things get any more clear with this. This is a force this is something that could be helping you that you're maybe unaware of or not utilizing fully. The 6 of Pentacles. So many pentacles in this one. Pentacles are wealth and material gains. 6 of Pentacles. This person seems to have the magic melody of producing wealth. They have whatever skill it is that causes wealth to pour forth and nourish the ground beneath. Wealth, by the way, can actually just be money. Wealth can also be like people can have a wealth of knowledge and people can have a wealth of generosity. In this case, this person seems to be generous. This seems to be generosity because he's calling forth wealth. And it's causing something to grow. It's causing, maybe it's a fund to grow. I mean, it's a tree in this, but that tree can represent anything. That can be another person. That can be a business. That can be investing. That can be investing into your house. That could be investing into yourself. This could be, wealth could be fitness in this case. Bodily health can be a form of wealth. So, take it however it most makes sense to you. But this is the force that maybe you're underutilizing or not aware of at all that can help you in the situation. A sort of generosity. Maybe from you, maybe from somebody else. Let's see. 6 of Pentacles. 4, 5, 6. The dependencies between those that have and those that have not. The giver thinks he is part of a one-sided equation of generosity, but does not see what the receiver does for him. One supports the other, like an Ouroboros, a self-sustaining cycle. Oh. So the giver in this case donates and sees it as a one-sided thing. He is donating, or he was giving something. Again, wealth can be many things. It can just be time. He could just be giving his time to this other thing. What he doesn't know is how this other thing is supporting him as well. He doesn't see that. So it is like a cycle. It's not one-sided, but the giver is supported by the givee. And so I don't know in this situation which side is more relatable, the giver or the givee, but both are necessary and both benefit one another. And this is a force that can help, that maybe you're not aware of or underutilizing. This sort of Ouroboros, this giver givee. Again, that could be wealth, that could be time, that could be anything. That could be just an ear. Maybe this person is volunteering, that maybe they're listening to this person, and they see it as like, oh, I'm helping my friend. My friend needs to vent, so I'm listening to them. I'm giving my time and giving my ear to them. And what they don't know is that person that friend who's venting or talking to them or leaning on them for support, they are also receiving support from. I've got to admit, this one was a bit more chaotic. This reading was more chaotic, for me at least. It was very hard to understand exactly what was happening here. But there are a lot of forces and a lot of pentacles, so it has a lot to do with material. What do we have, 3 pentacles? Yeah, 3 pentacles. So a lot of material in this one, whereas the rosewood was a lot of emotions, with a lot of cups, a lot of introspection and thinking and feeling. This one is a lot of material or something. It's a wealth thing. Again, it can be money, it can be knowledge, it can be experience, it can be, anything that a person can covet, which is a negative sounding term to use to apply to things. But yeah, anything that a person can covet or that a person can desire to hoard or desire to accumulate, that's what they mean by wealth. That's what they mean in the Pentacles. Things that you want to gather, to scoop up. So yeah, those were those. I've been looking forward to doing this stream for some time. I had fun. Maybe I'll do some. Not all the time, of course. Fridays I try to mix it up. I try different things. I try to do weird things that YouTubers don't always do. Sure, I could just play video games every stream, but you guys would get bored of that just as much as I would. At some point, I still need to do Aka SMR, Aka ASMR. I don't have enough ideas for that because I want to do a weird ASMR, but probably not an anti ASMR, not like Maury's ASMR where she started vacuuming. I just don't know what I would do yet. I also don't know. I don't know if my mic is really good for ASMR. Chat, can you tell me? Is this a good mic? I don't know if it has spatial audio or not, but I can try talking into both sides like this and see. ASMR not do it for you, Sorrow? Let's see. What other plans do I have? I do have quite a haul of metal, so I might do another stream where I make some stuff out of metal. I have a pretty good haul going. Got these. Elder Futhark runes. These are on bone. They're on elk antler. Yeah. This is my 3rd set of Elder Futhark runes. My first was on Applewood, I believe, because apple is the tree of man when it comes to tree lore. Talking tree metaphysics, tree magic. An apple tree is man, whereas ash is man. I forget. Anyway, Um, yeah, so my first one was that. My second set was just like I can't remember what kind of stone, like tourmaline or something. It's just like stone, but I decided I wanted something more nature based. So this is from Elkhorn. From Elkhorn. Tyr, yeah, the victory rune. Where's Tyr? Tyr, the victory rune. Victory rune. Allegedly, it's either Tyr that's the victory rune or Sig. Um, which so we low. Avos? No. Avos. Right? It's hard because I think in my book, I think Sig is like this, the lightning bolt, but it's printed because it just fits better on that. Yeah, one of these two is the victory. This is like more thought of as the victory rune, but Edred Thorson writes a bunch of books talking about runes. He's like quite a historian and scholar of runes and Norse mythology and Norse culture, and he in one of his books he says that this might be the victory rune. That meaning might have been lost a little bit. I read a book once in the ancient times. I've read a couple. I quite liked runes at first. They were easier. They had easier interpretations in that like each rune's meaning is pretty clear. I've forgotten a lot now. I remember Gevel here is like gift. This is referred to as the death hook. I think it's the life and death cycle, but also Yara is also, well, this is like the life and death cycle. This is like the yearly cycle of harvest and planting. Yara. Manas is the rune of man. And of union, I think. So like marriage and stuff. It's like mankind and household and home. Righto, I think is communication or travel or something. Henna's fire, but it's like it's fire, but it's like the gift of God to man, gods to man. I think like the gift of fire from gods to man. So like what gods give I forget so much. The weird rune is mystery. It's blank. Sometimes it's included in sets. Esa or eso, the line. It's ice. It's static. It's unmoving. It's unchanging. Her throw here is chance. It's a lot cup. It's chance. Fehu. Fehu is the first of the Futhark runes, and I can't think of what it. I can't think of what it is. Fehu. Ansus. Here. This is Avos. So there's Awaz and Avos, but I've seen different spellings in a lot of these though. This one is can't remember. Lagaz, I can't remember what it means. Burkano is birch. I can't remember what else. Mouth is. I already do. This is Gebo. I've forgotten. This is a protection rune. It's meant to represent a splayed out hand like this, or it resembles a splayed out hand like this, meaning like back. Not particularly that the fingers need to be like this, but just like the hand, like stop. At least that's what I've been told on this. Gurus. These are called join. There's no joining. We did tarot reading earlier. I've already done with those. You can certainly feel free to watch the VOD from the beginning. I did 3 tarot readings, and I did where you picked an object that most closely like resonated with you. So if you watch the VOD, you'll see these 3 objects, and I show them and I talk about what they are, and you can pick like which one calls to you, which one feels like ooh that one, and then that deck or that reading is your tarot reading. So this is a VOD that's actually worth it to rewatch if you're interested in getting a tarot reading. And the idea being that like those 3 decks are there's 3 distinct messages, and so whichever object like calls to you, that's the message that you needed to receive. Sad, hello, welcome on in. I imagine you might have been busy. Did you see my this is my deck. I'm not going to go through every card, but this art is Stephanie Puimanlaw, who has done art for Magic the Gathering cards. Shadowscape Tarot. It's from her art collection, just called Shadowscapes, I believe. She's become one of my favorite artists. So like for a long time, I busted out the runes because I started studying them first. Because like the meanings are simple, which means that like divination by rune casting is more complex and a lot more interpretative and a lot more of an art. Which, granted, by tarot, it's still a lot of art as well, a lot of interpretation as well. But with runes, it's so ambiguous. But I liked that, and it seemed easier because tarot, there's so many more cards and so many more, so much more symbolism in every single picture, versus like one symbol. So I stayed away from tarot for years in my like metaphysical studies. But once I decided to start learning, by that time I had seen a lot of different decks, including Rider-Waite and a lot of variations on Rider-Waite. And so, like I said, started to understand the symbolism and everything. And then I came across this deck in an occult shop in my college town, actually. And this art just blew me away, and I loved it so much. And it spoke to me. Like, I picked up this deck, and I held it, and I looked at the art, and it like zapped my brain. I felt like, oh my God, I understand. I don't have to look at the book to tell me what each of these pictures mean. I know exactly what all of these mean. Like, I could just see it, and I just felt what the artist was trying to convey. And I was like, this is it. And then, for 7 years, this is the only tarot deck that I've used. I've held and I've looked at and I've used friends' tarot decks. Not very many, probably 3 tarot decks that I can think of. But this is the only one that like I use for like myself. But yeah. So yeah, if anybody wants, you can still get those readings. Essentially, you can go back, just watch this VOD of this stream either here on Twitch, or I'll post it on my YouTube VODs channel, which is Aka VODs. I think it's linked on my main YouTube. Maybe it's linked on my card. I don't know. But if you watch the VOD, just pick one of those 3 objects, either the coarse worry stone, the rosewood bounding ball, or the glass chaos emerald. And then the deck like underneath that object will be your reading. And then yeah. I love tarot for all their different interpretations and just how each artist goes about interpreting each card. Yeah. With your tarot thing on your Discord, I was like, I imagine, and I think we've sort of like loosely talked, like brushed up against tarot stuff and concepts. I don't think we've had a full conversation about it, but I have been meaning to ask, like, how into like metaphysics stuff are you? How into like, is it just tarot, or are you kind of interested in various occult things? Or I consider myself to be like an armchair scholar of neo-paganism and occultism and metaphysical stuff. I like to read about things that interest me, which at times were runes, and at times were tarot, at times were Wicca and Odinism and indigenous peoples, spiritual beliefs and animism and Celtic beliefs and all of that. All around enjoyer. Yeah, I like it all so much. I also think that like, while I hesitate to call myself like religious, I do study a lot of different religions, and I do like believe in things. I just find it hard to believe in one set doctrine, because I don't think that any one religion out there has everything nailed down completely. And I've pissed some people off on Twitter, not intentionally, but people got pissed off at me on Twitter for this stance. So I apologize if I offend anybody, but I feel like the truth in spirituality is somewhere between a lot of different belief systems. So I pick and choose. Essentially, to not get into it too much, I pick and choose. And that kind of is what pissed people off on Twitter. I don't know why. I don't think that it's that flamboyant. I don't think it's that ridiculous of a stance to have. I pick and choose. I say, hey, I like this belief. I like that belief. I think that this is right. This seems to vibe with me. This seems to gel. This makes sense. That makes sense. And I especially like it when I study like a dozen different spiritual systems from different parts of the world and different time periods, and they have similar concepts, when people who did not interact with each other have different words but describe the same thing. I'm like, dude. So like a really interesting thing. Um, so in alchemy, but okay, so there is the alchemy, like Full Metal Alchemist. There's like the turning objects into other objects type of alchemy, but that, in my experience from reading, comes from, so like the Golden Dawn version of alchemy, which I'll refer to as spiritual alchemy, seems to be where a lot of modern, well, okay, and then there's alchemy with herbs and stuff, which I think predates even that, but I don't know if it was called alchemy back then. It was probably called workcraft or medicine. You know, there's lots of different terms, but like alchemy, like Golden Dawn and other systems definitely referred to alchemy. But what they were referring to, what the goal of that alchemy was to transmute the soul into a better soul. So the soul, the whatever it is that gives you life, that animates your body, it's trying to better that. So Golden Dawn alchemy is like, oh, we're going to do these spiritual exercises like you would do physical exercises, lifting weights, push-ups, going for jogs, but we're going to do exercises of the soul to try to elevate the soul to a higher state, to try to improve the health of our soul, so to speak. With the ultimate idea being like, well, you want to get the soul to like godliness, basically. Whether that's a capital G godliness or a lowercase g godliness, doesn't matter. The point is you're trying to reach this highest state of spiritual development. And so the Golden Dawn in particular was a system of doing that. It was like, I mean, it was a secret society thing. But they weren't like doing crazy shit like, you know, having sex with cult leaders and stuff. They were just like, they had like these rituals and different beliefs and symbols and things like that are meant to like elevate the consciousness. So whether that's with incense, maybe you combine like this smell plus this color plus this sigil plus these sounds of this chanting, or, you know, whatever. You combine all these effects and try to create like almost a trance state or like a meditative state that elevates the subconscious, that tries to, you try to tap into some like primal resonances in the human subconscious and try to like wake something up in you. And it was really interesting. Hello, how are you? I'm good. I'm now on a metaphysical rant. I'm super interested in this stuff. We just finished tarot reading, and then I busted out like runes and stuff. If you want to go back in this VOD, or if you want to check out my VOD channel, I'll post this later tonight. And but the tarot readings will be up there, and you can still participate. So I set out 3 objects: a rosewood bounding ball, a coarse worry stone, and this glass emerald and chaos emerald. And whichever object like most resonates with you, whichever one you feel most drawn to, that's your pile. So they're like 3 piles. And then, you know, you pick one of those objects, and then I did a reading for all 3 piles. So then you can go to whichever pile is for the object that you picked, and that's your reading. And yeah, that VOD will be here on Twitch. It'll be on my VOD's channel tonight if you're interested in you know, getting a reading. But now I'm just ranting about metaphysics stuff that interests me because I like it. So Golden Dawn, the system of elevating the subconscious and of trying to transmutate the soul, the human soul, to a higher state. One thing that was really interesting to me is there's a passage, and I believe it's in Israel Regardie, who he's one of the first or best, most well-known people that I'm aware of to kind of make Golden Dawn practices available to like the layman. He wrote books on it. You weren't supposed to, just kind of secret society stuff. He wasn't supposed to do that, but I believe, if I remember right, his justification is like, hey, we think we have the system for, if we really believe that this is the system for elevating the human soul, for improving one's spiritual self, then we should share it, and we should make it widely available. That's essentially so. Anyway, in one of his books, he quotes somebody else's book, and I want to read that other book, but we start getting into like really old texts that like I guess can be found, but like I don't want to pay $85 for a book that's written that's not translated well. Anyway, but so Israel Regardie quotes this guy, and he describes a state of being. Having gone through these Golden Dawn exercises, he describes a state of being where he where one wakes up and everything around them seems bathed in a golden light, and they walk out onto the road and the sunlight coming down is like rays of gold, and the streets appear to be made out of gold, and everywhere everybody is smiling and happy. Not that he's gone anywhere. He's still in his same town. This person is still in his same town, but he sees the world in a new light where everything is beautiful. He's seeing the whole world as if seeing everything for the first time. The leaves are the most beautiful thing that he's ever seen. The insects, the cats and the dogs, and the other people, and the whole town that he's in, everything works and everything is so beautiful and wonderful. And he says that he reached that state through doing these exercises where like he reached this point, and he describes it as everything being golden and wonderous. And like that was so interesting to me because it's like, I'm not saying that it's the same thing, but it reminds me of cities of gold. And then you think about, so this person reached this state through spiritual exercise. Well, you think about the Buddha reaching enlightenment, achieving nirvana, achieving enlightenment. There's so many spiritual systems that describe a similar feeling of like blissfulness, a similar state of blissfulness that apparently some people have gotten to. Some people have reached the state where everything is wonderful, where everybody is beautiful, everybody looks beautiful and is interesting, and the whole world is great. And I'm like, well, fuck, man. Like, why can't, like, that doesn't sound like such a terrible thing to try to achieve, right? And so to me, that's like, when I talk religion with people or talk spirituality, it's like, that's what my religion is, I guess. My spirituality is, where it's like, there are lots of different things that I believe in individually, but what is like the purpose to me of any spiritual system, any religion, any spiritual system? The purpose is to improve the spirit or the soul or the self. In Christian-based religions, Judeo-Christian-based religions, it's to better the soul and better the self and get into heaven. That's the bliss. For Buddhism, it's to achieve enlightenment or to like break out of the cycle. It's to reach the state of bliss. Ultimately, it's like, it seems like the goal is always to like achieve a state of bliss, and that's wonderful, man. That's beautiful. And so, and I think that any method of getting there is valid. You know, like there's accounts from all sorts of different people, whether it's of the Christian faith who have had near-death experiences and said they saw heaven, people who have achieved enlightenment and transcendental meditation, people who have achieved those states of blissfulness from taking ecstasy. You can do it with drugs. I don't condone drug usage. Don't get me wrong. Nobody, just everybody be responsible and everything. But like, you can artificially create these bliss states in many ways. There was a book that I read once a long time ago called Get High Now Without Drugs. It was really interesting. There's like lots of things you can do, including like breath control, which like I don't advise anybody to just go out and start fucking with their breathing patterns. You don't want to hyperventilate and pass out and possibly cause brain damage or something. But there's ways to like regulate your breathing, like during meditation, that'll produce a trance-like effect, and you'll get like glimpses of that euphoria. Yeah, alcohol can do it. Actually, like depending on what kind of drunk you are, alcohol can create a state of bliss. It's just a matter of if it's like temporary or permanent. And I think everybody's trying to seek that like permanent state of bliss, that permanent higher self. Anyway, I could rant about this for hours, and probably at some point that I will, because I love it. It's all so interesting to me. I love reading about stuff like that. I love reading about people's pursuit of bliss, people's pursuit of heaven, people's pursuit of nirvana, people's pursuit of enlightenment, people's pursuit of just being happy. And yeah, that sometimes that comes from not just being happy, but being spiritually content. I don't know. I don't know if I consider myself agnostic or what. I was atheist for a long time, and I still slide back and forth between feeling very, very atheist, but still like a scholarly interest in occult and metaphysical and religious studies and things like that. Anyway, I should just stop myself because like I said, I will just keep going. Oh, keep going. Ad's about to start anyway, so I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks everybody for coming out. I'm gonna end the stream as fast as possible. I'm gonna have a schedule out for next week. We're gonna do Music Monday. I finished the one project that I was working on, the Ghost Pumpkin Hill cover. Passed that on, so I think I'm gonna work on the other one, the one with Wham and Twiggy. Yeah, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for hanging out. Bye!